Okay guys, to start this activity you need 100 objects that are kind of one color, 100 objects that are another color, and they're about the same size. I chose garbanzo beans and red beans. Garbanzo beans are going to be my other animals, and red beans are going to be my delicious, juicy little mice. You're also going to need some kind of container to use as your habitat, and a data sheet which you can get looking at slide 10 in the slideshow. You can copy it from there, or you can even print a copy from there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my 10 mice in the habitat. And then as per instruction 2, my 100 beans in the same as my red beans. So now I have some delicious prey for my fox. In my score sheet, I'm writing 10 to start with my 10 mice, and my first generation 1 fox. That's the minimum that I always start with, 10 mice and 1 fox. Even if they die, there'll be new ones coming in from other environments. Now it's time for me to start hunting. I'm gonna take out 15 of these beans. Here are the 15 poor little animals that I hunted. I'm going to return all the ones that don't really matter for this and just keep my mice. So here now I have 2 mice that were captured, which means of the 10 mice I had, 2 are here, and there should be 8 left in here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mice are left in there. So true, surviving mice, 8. So my 1 fox ate 2 mice, but it says that for a fox to survive, they need to have eaten 5 mice. So there are no surviving fox, and if there's nothing alive, well, it couldn't have a baby or an offspring, could it? Which means that I'm just going to go again and say that there's 1 fox in the habitat because it was like the neighbor who came in from another place. So here I had 8 mice left over, but every time I have 8 mice that survive, in this case, the population doubles. So 8 plus 8, or 2 times 8, is 16. So what I can do to make it easier, I go, okay, there's already 8 in there. I take these 2, put them back, that's 2, and then put in another 6. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm ready for my second hunt. Okay, in my second hunt, I caught 8 mice. The other ones are going back into the container again. I always put those back, and I'm gonna get my score sheet going. So my fox captured 8 mice, which means there were 8 that survived because 16 minus 8 equals 8. And interestingly enough, because 8 survived, I double the population again, and I'm back to 16 to start the next population. And then down here, I had in generation 2, I had 1 fox, but they ate 8 mice, which means that I've got now 1 fat fox that survived and had an offspring or a baby, which means 1 plus 1 equals I now have 2 foxes. So I'm going to go a few generations along, and then I'll check back in and show you where you should be. So here we go. I've gone along a couple of generations for you, and I actually got to generation 7. I actually had 100 mice because I'd had 50 times 2. I had 100 mice in there. The foxes, there was 2 of them, they just went on a rampage and caught 39 mice, which fortunately 61 still survived. So then I had 4 foxes that had started out. They all survived. They all had babies. So now for this generation, I have 8 foxes. But here's an interesting thing. Remember, the carrying capacity of this game is 100. That means that 100 mice can survive. 100 mice can survive in this habitat because that's how much food is available for them and shelter. But here I had 61 surviving mice. So 61 times 2 should be 122. But we're not going to say that because our maximum number I can ever up here is 100. And what that looks like is every single bean again is in my habitat. Mix them up, and can you imagine I'm going to have 8 foxes eating everything in here. So let's see how that looks like. So that is the result of 8 foxes hunting, and this is where you can take turns with your family or someone else who's in your house if you want, where they can take turns pulling out the groups of 15 beans just to make it a bit more social for you, and that's what's left. So a lot of mice there. I'm about to count them all up. So here I have all those mice that I've put aside, lovely and plump. The foxes obviously enjoyed eating them. I put back my garbanzos, which are all my other species, back into that container, and now I'm going to count and say how many mice my 8 foxes. So my 8 foxes had quite a hunt, and they actually caught 62 mice, which I put in the jar because they kept trying to escape. So once again, in my captured mice, 62. And then I wonder how many foxes survive. So if you don't want to be 16 different foxes, like in the case of this generation, you could maybe get someone to help you. So here I have a new fox coming in, one of my 16, and they're going to hunt for their 15 animals. Yum yum, I wonder if they hunt as well as I do. And it can be more fun to have someone else to do it with you too when you're getting up to numbers like 8 or 16 foxes or something. And there we have it. Very similar hunting skills. So let's see what we get overall. So even without counting the mice, it seems like there's not going to be enough food for 16 foxes because I've only got 11 piles plus this little pile here that only has 10 things in it. So doesn't look like that's going to work because each of them was supposed to hunt 15, but let's see what the numbers say. So there was a little bit of carnage because there was 76 mice and, well, everything in the whole habitat was eaten, including the 76 mice, so there are no survivors. But only 1 fox died because 76 divided by 5 gave me 15 point something. So 1 died, which means they had 15 babies. So now imagine what's going to happen next, guys. We have 10 mice and 30 foxes. So we have run through almost all the generations. We're in generation 15, and my helper is about to do our last hunt and pull out 15 prey. He has 28 chances to catch a mouse because there are 28 mice in there. So our very proud hunter caught 3 mice and 12 other species. So we're doing our last one. We caught 3 mice. 28 minus 3, that means there should be 25 mice that ended up in here. 3 mice, unfortunately for our fox, means once again, kaput. So now that you've got all the data that you have on this piece of paper, you should be able to return your beans if you washed your hands properly beforehand, or your pasta, so that you can eat them. We don't want to waste food in times like this. And next class we'll be ready to graph and write a claim evidence reasoning about what happened between the fox and mouse populations.